Hospital parking is the biggest cause of high blood pressure. That's my opinion, albeit I'm not a doctor. But let's take a moment to consider this health emergency. So close your eyes and listen carefully. Let's get one thing straight right out of the gate. If you ever want to experience the raw, unfiltered chaos of modern civilization, don't go to Burning Man or a Taylor Swift concert. No. That's too organized, too intentional. If you really want to test your wits, your patience, your inner spiritual resolve, you go to a hospital. And then you try to park. Hospital parking is a paradox, a philosophical riddle wrapped in a bureaucratic enigma, parked illegally in a fire lane. It's where logic goes to die and hope limps in on crutches, only to be told it can't park there without a special sticker issued only on Tuesdays between 2:11 and 2:13 p.m. Because here's the kicker. No matter how big the hospital is, how many floors it has, how many millions they poured into the state-of-the-art robot-assisted surgery wing, there is never, and I mean never, any parking. None. Not for love, not for money, not even if you're literally bleeding from the ears and screaming, "I think I swallowed a fork." Hospitals are where you go when you're dying. So why is it easier to find parking at a cheesecake factory on New Year's Eve than it is at the emergency room? And don't get me started on the signs. Oh, the signs. Emergency parking this way, they say, confidently, like they've actually helped anyone in the history of signage. You follow the arrow like a good little patient in distress, driving around the curve, heart pounding, vision blurred, possibly having a stroke, only to find 6 cones, a closed gate, and a sign that reads, "Car park full." Car park full? Car park full? This is an emergency car park. That's like a lifeboat on the Titanic having a reservations-only policy. Now, some genius will inevitably say, well, why didn't you call a taxi? Why didn't I call a taxi? Because I'm not Jeff Bezos. Because riding in a taxi costs more than flying first class to Paris and back, while being hand-fed croissants by a butler named Pierre. That's why. Taxis are scary. You have no idea who the driver actually is, and the ride ends in a building filled with people who all want to look inside your body. If that's not a horror movie plot, I don't know what is. So there you are, driving yourself to the hospital because you thought that was the reasonable thing to do. "I'll just drive myself," you said. "It'll be fine," you said. And then, bam! You enter the Bermuda Triangle of healthcare parking, where time, logic, and all available spaces disappear into a black hole. The hospital parking garage is the 7th circle of hell, but without the warmth. It's a multi-level concrete tomb that looks like it was designed by someone whose only architectural experience was stacking Jenga blocks during an earthquake. The ramps are too steep, the turns too sharp, and the ceiling so low that your 2007 Honda Civic feels like a double-decker bus about to scrape its roof off like a sardine can. And the signage inside the garage? Oh, it's helpful in the way IKEA instructions are helpful. Vaguely suggestive and mostly pictographic, leading you to the exact wrong conclusion. One level says visitor parking, the next says reserved staff, the next one says short term, and the top level just says abandon all hope. You circle and circle and circle some more. You start to feel like a hospital-themed version of Groundhog Day. Every ramp looks the same. Every car is parked in that one perfect spot you just saw open, except it was never open. It was a cruel mirage. At this point, you're starting to weigh your options. What if I just park on the grass? What if I leave the car in the middle of the road, hazard lights on, and run in holding a note that says, "BRB, may be dying"? Meanwhile, your emergency is not getting any less emergent. You're now sweating profusely, clenching the steering wheel with white knuckles, trying to remember your breathing exercises from that one yoga class you took in 2017. Eventually, you find a spot, way in the back, so far from the actual hospital that it may technically be on a different property. possibly another state. But you're desperate. You park, you leap out, and you run, which is when the security guard stops you. "Sir, you can't park there. That's for dialysis patients with a blue sticker who own birds." "What?" "And it's Tuesday. No blue stickers on Tuesdays." So, what have we learned, dear listener? We've learned that the true test of the human spirit is not surviving a medical crisis, but navigating the Kafkaesque labyrinth that is hospital parking. We've learned that in the world of healthcare, where technology can map your genome and replace your hip with a titanium upgrade, nobody can allocate enough square footage for more than 17 parking spaces, 12 of which are reserved for a secret board of administrators who haven't set foot on the premises since 2004. We've learned that hospital signage is written in a dialect of sarcasm and despair, that parking garages are built like poorly optimized video game levels, and that somehow, your 90-year-old grandmother with a walker will always find a spot before you do. We've learned that emergency parking is a myth, like unicorns, honest politicians, and printers that work on the first try. We've learned that ambulances are basically luxury rides for the fiscally reckless, and that if you want to avoid the $5,000 "you're an idiot" fee, you'd better try to drag your half-conscious body into the building like you're in the final scene of a war movie. But most of all, we've learned that parking at a hospital is not just an inconvenience. It's a gauntlet, a rite of passage, a final exam in patience, creative profanity, and spatial reasoning, all rolled into one. And at the end of it all, when you've finally parked illegally in a loading zone, left a note that says, "Sorry, I'm trying not to die," sprinted half a mile, gotten lost in 3 different hospital wings named after donors who sound like discount furniture stores, and found your way to the ER desk, you will look the triage nurse dead in the eyes and say, "Appendicitis. Probably. But I'm honestly more worried about the parking ticket." And she'll nod knowingly, because she gets it. Everyone does. It's the one condition that affects us all. The only prescription. Not more bull! Just more damn parking! Remember, if you like what you hear, then don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel. It helps us to continue making these videos for your entertainment.